message is the one thing you haven't said yet? What if the thing that the person waiting on you needs is the thing you're afraid to share? What if you know deep inside of you what to say, but you're waiting? You're waiting for it to be clear, for it to be more perfect, for you to arrive to a certain spot. What if all you need to do to say what you need to say is simply to say it? Let's talk about that. Hi, my name is Steve Kidd. I'm a third generation minister, international best-selling author of 38 books and counting. I've worked with over 5,000 people, helping them write, publish, market their books to bestseller, and everything that goes beyond that. But what I really do is I help you learn the secrets to being visible and valuable. It's not tough. It's not rocket science, but it does have to do with this massively secret that isn't a secret at all. And that is that in order to be visible, you have to be visible. In order to be a speaker, you have to speak. You see, there's a line in the movie Tootsie. Some of you maybe don't remember the movie Tootsie. Dustin Hoffman, plays the part of a girl in a soap opera because he can't get work anywhere else. And sideline to that is kind of an another piece of that movie, and he's teaching up and coming actors how to be, the failed actor that he is, basically. But he does have a great line in there, and it is, actors act always. You see, speakers speak always. You should be on podcasts, on stage, and more than anything, you should be going live. If you want to be a polished, really great speaker, the only way you're going to do that is by going live and speaking. Doesn't matter if you're speaking to the camera and the only person listening is your own 2 ears, your ears need to hear it. You see, we've talked all about the statistics of it no longer being 7 or 12, that it might not even be 40 times that a person needs to hear your message anymore. It may be as much as 100 that they need to hear your message now. The first person that needs to hear you say that thing 100 times is your 2 ears. Your brain needs to hear you say it because your brain has heard you say over and over and over and over and over and over and over again all of the ways that you're not good enough, you're not there yet, you're not perfect, you understand what I'm saying? I love the book. It's called Affirmations by Dr. Noah St. John. And one of the things that Noah brings up in that book is the power of asking ourselves the right questions. You see, our brains are, giant computing devices. They want to find answers. And so when we're presented with a question, that's why sometimes, if something comes up and it doesn't sit right with you, you'll find yourself even in the middle of the night, like when you go to the bathroom or you can't sleep or what have you, you're still chewing on that thing, right? You're still trying to find the answer for why is things this way. And it doesn't matter, what your belief system is or whatever. That's just the way we are as human beings. Our brains are designed to find answers to things. Regardless of your IQ, your brain is going to come up with the answers. Now, if your intelligence level will determine what kind of answer you come up with, and it may be more simplistic if you're if you're at a certain level, and it may be, way up in the clouds if you're at another level, but your brain's going to come up with that answer. And what your brain has been answering is the phrases that you've been saying to it for decades now. You have been powerfully, massively driving the message into your brain that you're not good enough, now's not the time, you're not perfect enough. When you get to a certain age, a certain place, a certain income level, a certain whatever, there only just always becomes the next excuse, the next reason why we, again, that day, don't just say it, don't just do it, don't just go live because. Think of all the reasons. I've been doing this now. What is this, like 3 weeks, almost a month that I've been doing this? It's 3 or 4 weeks now that I've been coming to you live every day to be the example, to lead the charge of, in order to be visible, you've got to be visible. If you want to speak, you need to speak. And just simply sharing with you over and over and over again the simple message of clarity, consistency, connection. To be visible, you got to be visible. Be visible and valuable. I mean, those few things that I just said there in about 30 seconds capsulizes everything that I've said. And some days I'm on for 25-ish minutes. Those are the really, really short ones. And other days I've been on for more than 45 minutes. Some of that has to do with, there was one of them that I went long because honestly, I started out at a very low energy and I had to build my own energy. I had to show you in the experiential type of a format how the principle of the fact that the more that you focus on giving and serving, the harder it is for you to stay in your own stuff. It isn't that your stuff goes away, it's that your brain just doesn't have the capability to focus on all those things that are pulling you down and truly be out and reaching out in service. Even as I'm saying that, I feel my back straighten up a little bit and I feel me sit up a little bit more because I want to show up here for you. I want to be here for you to make the difference in your life that I'm here to make. Maybe you do feel stuck. What if the being stuck had more to do with the lie you've fed yourself than anything else that's true? You need to feed your own brain with. That's why I'm so careful with I am statements. I used to give as examples. When you say, why am I? Okay, that's a why question. Your brain's like, ooh, well, let me figure out why you are. Okay, when you say I am X. So if you say, I am awesome, your brain hears that and it's like, okay, I am awesome. It just accepts it. Okay, if you say the negative, you say the other side of that, and you say, I am, and you say all the things that we say about ourselves, myself included, okay? I'm not picking on you. I'm just identifying with what I know because I see you and I'm you. I'm there, right there with you, going through this concept. And we need to feed our brains that thing. Clarity, we talk all the time, and again, I've always told you, clarity, consistency, connection is not 3-step formula. It's a one, they all tie together. But clarity, yes, I've got all kinds of teachings that I can give you. I even offered my four GPT thing that is normally sells for $1,000. I offered it the other day for $99. I'll give it to you again. You have to comment to this live stream 99. Okay, the number 99. If you make the comment 99, I will give you that $1,000 for GPT. There's also 6 videos that go with it that help you along with it, as well as one other longer video that's about an hour. You're going to get all kinds of clarity from that. But if you're waiting on that, and as much as, people even listen to my live streams and say, Steve, you need to sell more in your live streams. As much as, that is true. And as much as absolutely, I, like everybody else in the world, have bills and need to be able to pay them. And I'd love for you to jump in and do that. I'm not bringing that up to you so that you will give me your money. I'm bringing it up to you because I know that clarity is going to follow consistency. Clarity is going to come from connection. Because right now, and I'll use myself as an example so you don't feel picked on, all right? I've been through my own passion and purpose definer. I've been through it a whole bunch of times because, I developed it as well. But since it's been completely developed, I've been through it myself personally 4 different times. Each time it up-levels me. In fact, probably in another month or two, I will go through it again because all that I've been doing in this, as I'm going live to you and showing you how to be that visible and valuable. And I will see what it does for me and shows me of things. Okay. The reason why about a month ago, when I was sitting in front of ChatGPT and I asked it, how well do you know me? The reason why I did is because I've given it all those things. And we've spent a lot of time, and I've spent a lot of time developing a custom GPT that allows my assistants and people that work with me to be able to write in my voice. But that clarity came out of me consistently having done a radio show for 10 years, having written 38 books, having gone live umpteen zillion times. There is a lot of content. And for every bit of content that I've given ChatGPT as I've done things, there is more content for it. When I write a book, I can use ChatGPT to help me with it because I can give it the transcript from, say, for example, just using, and this isn't really the premise of a book that I'm writing right now, but if it was, and I was writing the book that I will eventually write on clarity, consistency, connection, I could feed it, the whole last month worth of lives and say, here's what I've had to say about clarity, consistency, and connection, you know, and then from that, and even in that, even in the writing, and even with all the writing I do, and even with all of the absolutely speaking to write, I can speak out a book and I can do a whole book in about a weekend. And that's without any kind of GPT kind of situation going on. I can do the whole book in about 4 hours with some of the GPTs that I've created. And that's totally from scratch, not knowing at all what I want to do the thing. And I never write books totally from scratch. The only books that I've ever written from scratch are the ones are the stories. I have 8 romantic fictions, and one that's a 4-book fairy tale that kind of tags on to the second 4-book trilogy, or quadrilogy, I guess you'd call that. And those are all free-flowing storyteller format. But the rest of them, they're planned. They're what's on my heart. They're as things pour out of me. That's where the next book. My next book coming out is called How Can I Help You Today? I've been literally struggling with that book and with what that book brings up in me for the last year. I wrote it a year ago. I've refined it some, and I've got a couple of friends of mine that are actually helping add a few things to it. And I've grown, and I went back and I just looked at it recently, and I had my well-seasoned ChatGPT take a look at it, and it showed me some things. It's like, yeah, you were here, but here's where you are now, and this is what really you've discovered. And I discovered it because, in case you didn't catch this, the first couple of times I've already said this, I discovered it because clarity comes from doing it. The more you speak, the clearer you get. The more you talk about that thing you can't stop talking about, the more you know that thing. No, I'm not talking about, the person who we all know that has latched onto something that is totally an untruth, and they've bought 100% into it, and they'll die on that hill and fight tooth and nail for it. I'm also not talking about the people, I have a couple people like that in my life that they just like to argue for argument's sake. They don't care what side of the coin they're on. Give them one of the two points of view on a thing, and they'll hold on for dear life to that thing. I'm not talking about those kind of things. I'm talking about the thing that you're passionate about, that the more you talk about it, the more passionate you get about it. The more you do it, the more you want to do it. You see, that's a real key clue for what your core passion is. When you can come on a live stream like this and you look over later and you see that it's 20, you see that it's 40 minutes later, and you find a way to conclude for that day, not because you're done, not because you couldn't easily go for another 20, 40, 4 hours, whatever, because you're in your heart and soul and core of your passion. I have over here an outline that I intended to go with. And you've seen me look over a couple of times at it, and I'm hitting the major points of it, but I'm just really focused in on the camera today because I'm in the heart and soul and core of who I am and what I do. And I just want to show up for you today. I want to be visible and valuable to you so that you know how to be visible and valuable. Because the only way to be visible, can you fill in the blank yet? The only way to be visible is to be visible. The only way to be clear is to just start talking it out. Just start working through it. You may stumble and fall. And, here's the thing, there is nobody that needs what you have that's going to diss what you say, even when you get it completely wrong. Even when you totally fumble and fuddle over your words and they come out crazy, for that person that you're meant to serve, they miss all of it. I love it. A good friend of mine, her name's Debbie Page. She's a coach. She lives up in Seattle, Washington, or up near Seattle. And this was a bunch of years ago. I mean, geez, this was probably 15 years ago that she told this. She redid the header on her Facebook page. That big picture up at the top. And as we do, we've all done it. Anybody that's been in Facebook for more than 2 seconds, and probably that person too. She put a typo accidentally in that header. And people were like, "Oh, wow, that's such an encouraging thing you've got up there in your header." I think they call it cover if you're being technical on words. Oh, that's so helpful. And she got just a ton of posts about how much they really appreciated her new cover photo and how much they really appreciated it. And then that person came in, right? And they're like, "I don't know if you know it or not, but you have a typo in that." And Debbie, I love how Debbie approached it because she was like, "Thank you. I really appreciate that. And thanks for also identifying yourself as not being my ideal client." You see, your ideal clients, and she had, and seriously, I mean, I remember the post. There was like 50 comments on how helpful that quote or whatever she had in there. I don't even remember. Like I said, it was like 15, 20 years ago. How helpful that was to them. And then that one person. And often, I'll use the concept because I've worked with so many authors. Often that happens to us in our writing. We write this book and we love it and we're just excited about it. And then we share it with, that friend or that family member. And they're like, "Well, it was okay." And our energy goes from up here to down to like, "No, okay." We're all excited and we're ready. We're going to launch that book. We're ready to put it out right now. And then an editor comes in. And editors, God bless you. I love every single one of you. Editors are designed by God to find fault. And I don't mean that at all in a bad way, because the truth of the matter is that if you give them back their own edits, long enough that they don't remember they're the one that edited, they would find fault with their own editing too. It's just the nature. I mean, they just see those kind of things that for the rest of us, we could care less. We misspell a word or we don't even know how the word's spelled, and it just totally goes by us. I had this book I was working with this lady just the other day, and she has this friend that is, this editor. And it's like, oh, she's got to go through this book because she's going to find everything. And after her friend went through it and she's like, "Okay, yeah, it's totally ready for you now. It's absolutely perfect." There was 2,000 grammar errors, according to Grammarly, which isn't always, in fact, most of the time is more wrong than it's right. But according to Grammarly, there were 2,000 errors in this book after this professional, gotta have it, knows it right. And that wouldn't have been a big deal. I'm used to that. But the funny part about it was there were words that were completely misspelled in there. And I'm like, because that's the nature of it. I don't care who it is. You will go blind to your own stuff. You could be a professional editor. You still want to have somebody come in and take a look at it because they're going to see the thing that you're going to read the way that you thought it was. Now, this live is not about your books, and I work in that field and I work with authors, so a lot of times my examples are going to be that way. But you need to understand your faux pas, you're making up weird words, you're stumbling, you're saying you're saying like your filler words, all those kind of things, they don't mean anything. The truth of the matter is professional broadcasters. I was watching, and I remembered who it was. It was Mark Levin, who's been, has a radio show that millions upon millions listen to every week, and has been, all over. Worked in political parts, had radio shows. The guy has been a broadcaster for like 20 plus years. And I was listening one day because I had just done a training with another coach that was like, you got to really be careful of those filler words and blah, blah, blah. I was really noticing all of them that I was doing in my radio shows. And then I was listening to him one evening. No, I don't really usually listen to Mark Levin, but I do live in a household where Fox News plays. If it's not Fox News, it's sports, but that plays like 24/7. My brother and my mother, that's what they do with their days while I work. Okay. It's just the way it is. And I was listening. I sat in the living room for a couple minutes and I was listening. And the number of filler words, the number of times he said and things like that weren't part of the sentence, it was totally freeing, honestly. I'm not dissing him. He's an amazing, articulate broadcaster. But we just say those kind of things. We don't even think about it most of the time. And when we're in our zone of genius, we may flow and we may fumble all at the same time, and that's totally fine. And your clarity is going to come from you just simply starting. It's easier to move a moving vehicle than it is to move a parked car. Have you ever pushed a car that's stalled out? That first initial push until it starts rolling, it's hard work. And some of us are worse than that because our cars aren't even in neutral, they're in park. And so if you came up and shoved as hard as you want to, it's going nowhere. The flip side to it is, and I know this because, I've worked at a couple of car dealerships and RV dealerships and stuff. In the showroom, they have these cool little, basically they're pieces of carpet that they put underneath of the tires of the cars. And in park, they can just scoot the car around. One guy or two guys can move a giant, truck, pickup, great big, truck around the showroom floor to exactly where they want it and turn it this way and that way. And it doesn't matter that the wheels don't go sideways like that. But how does it work? It works because you start moving it. And then it starts moving. And the more you push it, that's still that first push even when it's on those carpets, that first push to get the momentum is the hardest. You've got to get your momentum going. And then you need consistency to keep it going. It's not about being ready. You're never going to be ready. You're always going to critique yourself and you're always going to say to yourself, I need to lose more weight. I need to learn this. Once I have my course ready, once my web page is ready, once I have a handout to give at my talk, once I have a URL to send the people to. All of that is just excuses. Pick up your phone and say, hi, I'm here. Hi, my name is, and I'm here today to help you learn how to. Let's talk. Because somebody's suffering in your silence. Somebody needs exactly what you do. And yes, my notes that you saw me just glance over at, it reminded me, it's, hi, my name is, and I help people do. And the one thing I wish you knew that I want to help you with today is, if you don't know exactly who, if you're not clear on the who, tell the 5-minute, 5-year, 20-year ago version of yourself the thing you wish you would have known. What different thing would you do at 18 now? What would you love to tell the 18-year-old version of yourself that you wish you would have done? Now, I'm not saying let's live in that, I wish I would have, change up my whole life, dreamy state that isn't real. Yesterday's gone. We can't change it. But we can speak to the next person that is going through that same thing you went through. And we can say, hey, there's a detour up ahead. You want to take it. Have you ever driven down the highway? There's all those road signs on the highway, right? They tell you, gas and lodging, next stop. Next rest area is 63 miles ahead. And they tell you that just before the rest area. Why do they do that? Because they know, because they went down the road, and they know that if you need gas, if you're on a quarter of a tank of gas, and the next gas station isn't for 200 miles, i.e. Montana, you need to get gas now because you're going to be off to the side of the road in the middle of nowhere, which is pretty much all of Montana, even when you're on Interstate 90 or 94. That's the nature of driving through Montana. I can tell you this, having gone through Montana many, many times, anytime you see a gas station, stop and fill up your tank. You'll be glad you did, because it may very well be close to, bare empty before you get to the next gas station. It's just the nature of driving through Montana. They have those signs, road construction ahead. Left lane is gonna. Imagine if they didn't tell you, and you just, you're barreling down the road, and you're gonna try to pass this person, and then boom, there's a lane shut off. And then you have to slam on the brakes, and the person behind you slams on the brakes, and then they slam into you. That's why they have those road signs. You are somebody's road sign. Did you know that? You are saying to the person driving down the road behind you, hey, there's a really great restaurant here, and you want to pull over here and get the burgers from this place. You'll be glad you did. And when you get good enough at it, you can be wall drugs. Any of you that have ever driven through South Dakota on Interstate 90, you know that the entirety of the whole way through South Dakota, you're going to keep getting told about wall drugs, wall drugs, wall drugs, wall drugs. Wall drugs, reptile gardens, and maybe still the 1880 Village, which is where Kevin Costner filmed part of Dances with Wolves. And I don't know if that one's there anymore, but definitely reptile gardens and wall drugs. And by the time you get the 3/4-ish or a little bit more of the way through South Dakota to the town of Wall, if you've never stopped at Wall Drugs, you are going to stop at Wall Drugs. And you should. Everybody should go to Wall Drugs at least once. And Wall Drugs is so good at that they have signs in Tokyo that say they're, whatever it is, 6,000 miles to Wall Drugs or whatever. And they let you know. Wall Drugs, it's 200 miles. Wall Drugs, it's another 20 miles. Next exit, Wall Drugs. And you got to go see it. You're somebody else's, billboards telling them about the exit that's coming up, telling them about the cool thing that they just can't miss. It may be really simple and basic to you, but if they've never seen it, they need it. They need to see it. For that person that needs you, they need your message. And if you're not a great big giant flashing billboard sign telling them, whether it's light or dark outside, that they need to take this next exit, that there's road construction up ahead, that the bridge is out, that you don't want to turn right here because there's no services at this exit. There's nothing worse than getting off an exit, when you need to go to the bathroom, say, for example, and you get off the exit and there's nothing there. And then all you wish is that you would have just stayed on the highway for another 5 or 10 or 20 miles or whatever until the next exit where there was a gas station. You are that road sign for the person that's waiting on you. So what are you going to do today? You're going to go live. Literally say anything. I mean, I gave you the prompt. Hi, my name is, and I help people do. And the one thing I really wish you knew was, here's how to do it. But just go on. Your clarity is going to follow your consistency. If your consistency is designed to want to connect you to the people you're meant to serve, clarity, consistency, connection. Connect with people consistently, you will become clear. And the clearer your message gets, the more you're going to want to consistently connect. And the more you consistently connect, the clearer you're going to get. And the clearer you get, you're going to connect, and you're going to be wanting and compelled to do it consistently. You see, all three of those just go together, and you just keep doing it. But here's your challenge. Here's what you've got to do. You have to go live today. There's no reason, no excuse. Go live. Tag me at Steve Kidd, at Ask Steve Kidd if you're on TikTok. It's Steve Kidd with a bunch of numbers behind it on LinkedIn. Tag me. Let me know. Tell me that you went live, but do it. Do it now today. Good morning, Betty. Glad to have you here with us. Just about to wrap up, but do it. Go live today. Make the difference in somebody's life that only you can make. And on behalf of those people that you reach, I'm so, so glad that you did. Thank you. Thank you for being you, for being the person that is out to change the world in the incredible way that you absolutely do. I appreciate you. I appreciate that you're going to go live today and make the difference that only you can make. And yes, you're going to join our Visibility Amplifier community, which I'm going to drop the link for. I almost forgot about. And make that difference there too. And we're here to help you out. Until we're together again next time, I hope you have a great week.